So, hello and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Atlanta's Movers and Shakers. I am your host, Mandisa Johnson. Today, we are having a conversation with the founder and CEO of Cinema Life, which is a collective of film festivals based in Atlanta, and founder of Sweet Sea Productions, Caroline King. Hi, Caroline. How are you today?
Hi, Mandisa. It's so great to finally meet you over Zoom. We've been besties on Facebook and everywhere, so it's great. Totally fangirling right now. So thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. I'm fangirling over you too. So we shared we shared a little bit about you in our introduction, but could you tell us more about who you are and what it is that you do in the Atlanta film and TV community?
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Yeah. So I have been in the film industry and theater kid from the get-go. I went to New Orleans Center for Creative Arts. I grew up in New Orleans. Yes, I'm a Saints fan. Sorry. But so I majored in musical theater, and then right after high school moved to Chicago, where I worked with Second City and Improv Olympic, did a lot with comedy, and then moved to Atlanta probably about 6 years ago to focus more on my film career. I had my first film that I wrote, directed, and produced, tour the film festival circuit. It was called Church Wives, a mockumentary about, it's like Real Housewives, but for church wives. Very fun. And did the film festival circuit, went all over the country, and we had a great time with it. Came to Atlanta, and I just wanted to extend what I had seen in other cities as far as like focusing on short, independent films, and just wanted to bring that experience here to Atlanta. So I got started with the Atlanta Comedy Film Festival. Comedy is my background. That's just where I'm most comfortable. And then we expanded to the Georgia Short Film Festival, and then Women's Comedy Film Festival, which is actually coming up this Sunday. We have that here in Atlanta and in Chicago. We work with Second City for that one. It's so much fun. We love it here, and getting that continued support in Chicago is really great. And then we also have Summer in the South, and then we have the Southern Horror Film Festival. So it's just been such an amazing journey. Me as a filmmaker, the reason I got started with this collective and with what I do is because I always felt like when I got started as a filmmaker, I just felt so out of my depth. I felt like I wasn't part of the cool kids club. And I just was so lost as to where to go and what to do. So, really, just the basis of my events has always been encouraging people to network, encouraging people to meet their team, make friends in the industry, and help each other. And I always want to share resources with people, because there is a lot of gatekeeping in this industry, and I just want to make sure that anything that I do, that I produce, and that I'm involved with, make sure that people who are willing to do the work for opportunities and willing to, make things happen, that they have those opportunities and those resources to make them happen.
Wow, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, we love to share resources as well wherever we can help. So can you take us on your journey about how you started to where you are today?
From when I started my company?
Or like how if that's where you want to share, that's fine. But usually sometimes people talk about like how they started in like film, or if that makes sense. So it's
Sure.
really wherever
Like,
you
so
want to.
go into more depth as to what I just talked about.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, my journey into film, again, I love comedy. That's my background. I'd always done it with, sketch and improv and stand up. And making the transition to film was a pretty, for the most part, natural progression. It just made it to where I would have all these great ideas on stage. I would have all these great characters that would come up, and I would want to expand upon them in a way where I could control the script. And so, as a thick white girl, I'm not exactly funny enough to be like the fat actress, and I'm like not exactly hot enough to just be like a regular actress. And this is just, according to, 5, 6 years ago standards by casting directors. So I wasn't finding my place. I wasn't, I knew I was talented. I knew I had talented friends, but we just weren't getting cast in things. We weren't getting these same opportunities that I would see these other people that fit more traditional standards getting. So I decided to take control of my content. And that's how I got started in film. And, I would just I would go to auditions and make friends with people because we were seeing the same people at all of these auditions. And I would just make friends with them. And all of a sudden, we would go from auditions to set to now we're actually working on our own content together. I felt like I had to do a lot of groundwork to network and find these opportunities. So I really wanted to make sure that, I was being in control of my content. Once I got to that point and I was making my own films, I was producing films that were meaningful to me, and I felt stories that needed to be told. I realized that there was a big hole in the market for networking opportunities here in Atlanta. And when I say that, it's tough. There's a lot of, again, I've said gatekeeping. There's a lot of that in this industry, but also it's really difficult to tell what networking events are going to be worth your time and where you're going to be safe as a woman. So I would show up to these networking events that were, not really regulated. It was just like, oh yeah, meet at this bar. And, and they just kind of, I would show up open-hearted, wanting to work with people, wanting to collaborate. And I would very freely give out my information. And I would be approached by people who are like, oh yeah, I'm a producer. I do this, I do that. Give out my information, excited about collaborating, talking about new things, and then wake up the next morning to about 4 good morning, beautiful texts.
Oh, wow.
So it was tiresome. It made me feel like it people didn't want to work with me. They just wanted to use me. And it was really disheartening. It hurts my heart to know how many women are no longer in this industry because of similar situations and just tired of the lack of professionalism. So, in my search to now running events and, still producing film, making these opportunities where people are going to come and they're going to be put in a situation where they can actually ask questions to professionals who are in this industry that can help them and put them in the right direction, and also being surrounded by people who are there for the right reasons as well. It's been amazing seeing how many teams are created at our events. It went from people showing up to the film festivals like, I'm an actor and I don't know anyone, and then all of a sudden I'm able to introduce them like, hey, this director has something coming up and I know that you guys can work together. Like, oh my God, like just being able to introduce people has been such a huge, huge honor to me to see the amazing artwork that they create as teams. And then, of course, seeing screenplays that enter the festivals. And then the next year they enter as a film that's finished. It's such an amazing experience seeing the progression of this. So really just making sure that Atlanta is a hub for, first off, for people to make their films, but also as far as like films that are submitted, we have a pretty even split as to what films are submitted from Georgia and what are submitted from out of state and even out of the country.
Wow.
So making Atlanta a place where people want to have their film made and where they have the resources to have their film made, but also a place where people from out of state and out of the country see Atlanta as a great place to premiere their film and to have a screening, and seeing our audience and our community as a place where their artwork is going to be appreciated. So it's a huge privilege and a huge honor.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. And
Sure.
I can relate with the controlling your own content and
Yeah.
creating the networking events. I really like what you do. My husband and I actually came out to one of the film pitch events in, I think it was July. We
Yeah.
really enjoyed ourselves when we met so many people. There was a guy that pitched his film. I don't remember his name, but I went to another event and he started talking about his film. And I was like, hey, weren't you at that film pitch event? So I just thought that was really, really, really cool. I really love
Thank
what you do.
you. No,
So
I appreciate that.
yeah, you're welcome. I look forward to coming to more of your events. So you talked a little bit about how you were in like musical theater and all that. But did your parents recognize your love of the arts? And if so, how did they nourish your gift to facilitate growth?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. So my parents are not creative at all, in the traditional creative sense. They're very much like my mom was a swimmer, my dad was a Navy fighter pilot, so it was all very. I was very different. There was like a hurricane going on when my apple fell from the tree, which is fine. um, my parents tried everything as far as getting me into activities. They love activities. So I tried softball and I would sit in the outfield and make flower crowns and then skip to the bases. My mom put me on swim team and I would just jump in and get out the other side because I didn't feel like finishing. We tried gymnastics and I would just sit there and play with the chalk. It was my parents tried everything to get me interested and it just wasn't clicking until I was performing. We did like a play at school and I was performing and the teachers were like, okay, yeah, she needs to be like in theater class. And my parents were like, oh, that's like something you can do. Like, sure. And
Oh,
then,
wow.
yeah, so because I was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and because we moved around a lot, settled in New Orleans when I was about like 12, 13. But yeah, so in Chattanooga, got started at the Chattanooga Theater Center. I went to Chattanooga Center for Creative Arts for a couple of years and then transferred to New Orleans Center for Creative Arts. And then, yeah, ever since then, they were the most non-stage stage mom you could think of. My teachers would have to tell my parents when I had plays because I wouldn't. I would just
Wow.
be at rehearsal. They were just so supportive of whatever they could do. And, it got to a point where, my parents would come to performances and be like, you did great. Like, how do we, what's
Wow.
next? So, and they would, it was great because, NOCA, New Orleans Center for Creative Arts, it's a great school. It's very competitive. So every semester you have to compete for your spot. You do juries. And in our class, so each grade, we had about 12 people each grade for each department. And so, yeah, like the dean of our program, he would always tell my mom how much he loved her. Cause he's like, cause you just leave me alone. Like you're all these other moms are, all up in my business, but you just show up and we tell you where you need to be. It's great.
Wow. Wow, thank you for sharing that too, because
Yeah.
I hear so many different stories of people's journeys where there's stories like yours, where parents were like, we want you to do something else because we don't feel like you'll make money, or they just try to get their kids into something else. And then you have those parents that really really got them into it. So I'm glad they at least showed up to your performances and really thought that you were doing well.
Yeah.
That's really good. It's really good to support, you know, kids in the arts. My daughter is a 10th grader, so when she goes to 11th grade, she's going to be involved in the musical theater program at her
That's
high
great.
school. Yes.
Musical theater is just such an amazing experience. It's so all encompassing. It's such a great program. I just love musical theater. And then, yeah, like to what you were just speaking about, my parents have never once actually made me feel bad or guilty about being in the arts. They really, it's funny because they'll talk about their friends will be like, oh wait, so what do your daughters do? And because I'm the oldest of 6 kids. We've got a lot of kids in the family, but they'd be like, well, Caroline does a lot because
That's
so
funny.
and it is funny because my mom will call me because she's so cute. Like she'll get really excited about, she'll see things in the industry and she'll be like, Caroline, you know what? You should be a writer. I'm like, I am. She's like, no, but like on TV. Okay, well, I'm in pre-production for a network television show. Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, wow.
So it's just it is funny to see like they try. It's cute when they try and they just, anytime I have something important, I let them know and they're always there.
Wow, that's good that they're supportive.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break, but we'll be right back.
Son, I want you to always remember this when it comes to doing the right thing. Let nothing stop you. Sometimes you gotta make hard decisions. You can break a rule or two. But as long as it's good in your heart, and you're doing the right thing, let nothing stop you. Okay?
Welcome back to Conversations with Atlanta's Movers and Shakers. I am your host, Mandisa Johnson. Today, we are having a conversation with filmmaker and podcaster, Caroline King. Talk to us a little bit more about film festivals. It's obvious that you're very passionate. So can you share with us what brought about your passion for film festivals?
Yeah, great question. So film festivals, if you would have told me 10 years ago that I would be running 7 film festivals, I would have thought that you were crazy, but it's not something that I ever thought was a possibility, but I really fell into it. I've had a lot of mentors help me, but it is probably one of the greatest honors of my life to be of service to this industry. Being able to being able to showcase people's work in an environment that's so supportive and so creative is incredible. It's really special because these days our iPhones shoot in 4K. Anyone can make a film. So it makes the competition pretty stiff, but it makes the people the barrier to entry to being a filmmaker is less and less every day. So making sure that people still have those resources to being introduced to writers, being introduced to directors, being introduced to editors. Because yes, our phones shoot in 4K, but is what you shoot going to be good? So making sure that people have the tools and also the community that they need to make their projects happen. The saying that we have at Cinema Life is the most tragic story is one that goes untold.
Mm,
So I want to make sure that anybody that has a story to tell has the capability to do so through resources and their community.
I love that because that's true.
Yeah.
When your story's untold, then who's gonna know about a story that you have?
Mhm.
So I love that. Um, can you share with our readers and viewers about a few more? I know you shared maybe like a little bit about it, but some of the events you host via Cinema Life, and how can people become involved?
Yeah, so we have this weekend, we have the Women's Comedy Film Festival. A great way to be involved is, if you want to come and volunteer, we're always looking for volunteers and extra hands to help with check-in and making sure our filmmakers are having a great time. Also, we're always looking for partners and sponsors. As far as like sponsors and partners go, we really look for people and businesses that align with what our filmmakers need. So one of our partners, they work for an entertainment law firm. So they'll come in and they will teach amazing panels about contracts that you need and different, like, a lot of filmmakers don't know that you need a talent agreement, and they'll offer these contracts and discounted rates for our filmmakers. Also, my accountant comes in and she teaches a panel about how to do your taxes as a filmmaker. I can't tell you how many people have, over 100 grand in debt from a film school and still don't know how to do their taxes. They don't know that you can deduct like Adobe off your taxes. So
Mhm.
it's, being able to put our filmmakers in line with people, businesses, resources that are going to benefit them. And also people who are going to, get their hands dirty with us. We want people who, we don't want just people to throw money at us, which we won't turn it down, of course, but we want people who are going to take advantage of this target demographic that we have of filmmakers, but also a lot of filmmakers don't know that certain resources that are out there. So it is such a huge benefit to them. Also, great ways to get involved is submitting to the film festivals. If you have a project, all of our film festivals are listed on Film Freeway. We have 5 festivals in top 100 on Film Freeway, top
Wow.
100 reviewed festivals. And it's incredible. It's so much fun. We love our filmmakers submitting. You can become a judge for our festivals. We have really great, amazing judges. We're always looking for a big, diverse variety of judges. All of our projects get rated, and it's a big undertaking, but it's great to hear from our super talented judges. So if you like reading screenplays, if you like watching films, please, by all means, reach out to us, because we have a position for you on any of our festivals. And then also attending the festivals. I love attending film festivals and just being part of it, being part of the action and supporting the filmmakers who are on stage. I just can't tell you, during the films, I've seen all the films that premiere a bazillion times. I love it so much because we watch them so much during the judging process. My favorite thing is when the filmmaker's in attendance and everybody's watching the screen and I'm watching the filmmaker's face, and they just get it, because it's one thing to be in the editing room or have your
Mhm.
parents watch your film, but to be in a crowded audience, a full crowd watching and reacting to your film is so special. So being able to be part of that for the filmmaker is really a huge honor, but also just getting them involved in the process by doing Q&As with them, making sure that we're introducing them to other people who are, like-minded and similar to what they produce. So those are great ways to get involved in the events. We're always looking for people to help out and of course attending the festivals, because that's just the most fun part, because then it's like all the hard work we've done. Here's the fun part.
Right. I love it. I love what you do. And I like how you bring in the entertainment lawyers. That is like
Huge.
yes, it's one of my big things, knowing how to read a contract and
Yes.
the talent agreement and knowing what you're signing your name to. And I
Mhm.
tell people all the time, you do not have to sign something if you don't know exactly what it says.
And take your time.
Yes,
Take
please.
your time. I just signed a co-production agreement this morning that I received a month and a half ago, and it's with a big network. So making sure that I take my time, making sure my lawyer reads it, to making sure I ask my lawyer questions. Well, wait, what does this mean? What is, as many times as I've done contracts and looked at them, like, okay, wait, what do distribution rights mean? Like, what is this? So taking your time with it, because
Mm,
people will work with you, but also they want to know that you are taking part in this production, and they want to, but yeah, reading those contracts, it's so important to
yes.
take your time with it, not rush it, and making sure that you're taking care of yourself.
Yes, I love how you I love that because there's a lot of people who are so new to the industry who
Yes.
just get so excited about being in front of the camera or working on a big project, and then sign their name to it and they're like tied into something that they didn't know. So that's
Mhm.
very, very important. So can you talk to us about your podcast?
Yeah. It's beer podcast. It's a bad word, and I want to keep it PG for you.
Thank you.
I started my podcast about 5 years ago. Actually, exactly 5 years ago. Yesterday was our 5-year anniversary.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been an amazing journey. I was between projects and was antsy to get something new started. And I was like, all right, what can I do? I was just kind of like thinking like different things. And it wasn't actually on my radar to start a podcast, but I started doing research in craft beer because I love craft beer. I just didn't know much about it. And I would go and drink things and be like, why does this taste good? And so decided to start learning. Well, when I was looking at different content that was available about craft beer, it was all done by bearded white guys that were really mean.
Oh,
You'd go into Facebook groups and be like, oh, I really like this Bell's Hop Slam. And, like within 5 minutes, you had like 100 trolls that were like, more like Hype Slam. That beer's a drain pour, blah, blah, blah.
wow.
And they just like basically be mean to you because you liked a beer, but they were just saying that because it was popular and blah, blah, blah. So there's a ton of gatekeeping in craft beer. It's horrific. So ended up, I was at a brewery here in Atlanta, and this woman comes from the back room, tastes the beer that's on the tap, and then is walking around. She's got like rubber boots on, just looks like a total like rock star, like walking around. And I asked her, I was like, what do you do here? She's like, oh yeah, I'm the head brewer. I was like, I don't know why it hadn't dawned on me or why I didn't think about it, but shame on me because it just didn't even cross my. I was like, oh my gosh, you're a female head brewer. That's amazing. So then that's when I decided to start interviewing women in the industry. And it has been an incredible journey. I've been introduced to so many great people, so many incredible humans. And so I interview people, allies in the industry that are making the craft beer industry more friendly to everyone getting involved, to, just get rid of gatekeeping. And the way that the way that the podcast is described is it's like being told about craft beer from your best friend. And that's the way I like to keep it. No judgment. If you think you're about to say something stupid, I've probably already said it and said something more stupid.
Um,
But
go
yeah,
go
craft
ahead.
beer is so big and so large. So I want people to feel like they should always be learning about craft beer. There's never anybody who says they know everything about craft beer needs to go back to the drawing board because there's a lot going on.
Right. I am not a beer drinker. I'm more of a wine drinker. I think
Ooh, challenge accepted. I will find a beer for you.
my husband says it's an acquired taste. So
Sometimes
yeah.
there's
Yes.
so many. So the misconception about beer is that, a lot of people just have this like idea like, oh, it's beer, it's beer, it's beer. So wine has around 800 flavor profiles. Beer has around 4,000. So there are
Oh.
so many different, and I talk to everybody. If they say they're not a beer drinker, I'm like, I will find a beer for you. There are so many incredible forms of beer, is in the form of sours, barley wines, stouts. There's just so many different styles and variations that you can do where you can find a beer that works for you. But whenever people say they don't like craft beer or they don't like beer, I'm like, yet. Because you haven't found the right beer yet, because it takes a while. It really does. It takes a while.
We're gonna take a break, but we'll be right back.
Damn, dude, you really didn't tell anyone you were leaving LA.
I know, man. I was really just going through a lot those last few months.
No, I feel you. LA's a tough city.
It's no joke. You go out there with such high hopes and dreams, and then
Reality hits.
right. Honestly, man, I just want to start new. Like a clean slate. Forget about all that drama in the past, you know?
Yo, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, starting new. Hey, what does that mean?
I think it's time to chase my dreams.
Welcome back to Conversations with Atlanta's Movers and Shakers. I am your host, Mandisa Johnson. Today, we are having a conversation with Caroline King. So, you have Cinema Life has a women's comedy festival in Atlanta coming up on Sunday, March 19th at Wild Heaven Brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share about what people can expect and how people can purchase tickets?
Yeah. So yes, Women's Comedy Film Festival in Atlanta. We're so excited. It is a blast. It is just such an amazing, supportive community. All of our festivals are, but women's comedy in particular, it's just such a great time. It's welcome to everybody. You do not have to be a woman to attend. Just be a friend and be a good person, and that's all we care about. Be supportive.
Yeah.
So the thing to expect for the day, it's at Wild Heaven West End. So it's going to be on Lee and White Street. There is free parking and a ton of
Hey.
it. Please come for the free parking alone. We have the entire back room. So it's the brewery. They have an amazing, beautiful sound system, theater projector. It is gorgeous. It's a fun, non-pretentious, casual environment. So we have our own private bar back there. We've got amazing food and drink the whole day. We're going to start the day with table reads. We have 4 screenplays that will be having live table reads with local actors that were cast by us. And then we will have Q&As after each table read with the screenwriters. It's actually really exciting because last year, 2 of our screenplays that were table reads are now films that are in the
Oh,
festival.
wow. That's
We're so excited
amazing.
about it. So yes, these table reads are really, really, really great place to see things getting started and things getting to talk with the writers. It's such a beautiful experience. And then after that, we have an industry panel where we have incredible local filmmakers talking about the power of creating your own content and controlling your own content, which we touched on that earlier. And that's putting anybody in the audience in front of women and people who are in control of their own content and how they started. So really great resources available there. And also our panelists are so down to earth and so chill. We have Q&As, so you can ask them your questions, get connected with them. And then the rest of the day, we have 3 screening blocks of all of our comedy short films. It is going to be a blast.
Wow.
Definitely prepare for your abs to hurt at the end of the day after laughing so much.
Right.
And then tickets can be purchased. You can either go to cinemalife.org or go to the link in our Instagram bio. We're at Women's Comedy, and tickets can be purchased through TixPage, which we love. Oh my gosh, TixPage. If anybody ever has any events that they're doing, TixPage is a local ticketing company.
Okay.
Their fees are super low and they are very, very supportive of the arts. And so, yeah, if anybody has questions about that, reach out to me because they're great. And then, yeah, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be fun. It's supportive. You're going to leave with at least 5 new friends.
Wow. Y'all hear that passion from her. So what would be a piece of advice you would have for someone coming right out of high school looking to pursue your same career path?
Oh, wow. So I actually do teach high school. I teach entrepreneurship, and this is definitely advice that I share with my little babies all the time. I love them so much. These teenagers these days, they're so smart. They have access to so many things. It can be really overwhelming. So definitely analysis paralysis can set in. And my advice is to figure out what kind of life you want. Don't focus too much on what you want to do because there's about a bazillion different jobs that you can work these days. You can do anything. And, if you really want to be an influencer, go for it, but it's not, it's a lot of hard work. Anyways, so think about what kind of life do you want? Do you want a life that is a little bit more predictable, where you are working 9 to 5, you wake up at the same time, you go to lunch at the same time, you work around the same schedule, you come home at the same time, you have a set vacation each week? Do you want a life where you can create a family and spend more time with your family? And what does that time look like? Where do you want to live? Does it look like where you grew up, or do you want to try out new cities? Do you want to have a life that's more flexible, where you can take your work with you anywhere, you can live anywhere you want, travel anywhere you want, make your own schedule? And definitely think about that, because there's no wrong answers there when you think about what kind of life that you want. It's more about thinking about that first and then let things come into perspective for you at that point. Because when I was straight out of high school, I moved to Chicago, and I was working a retail job in a restaurant. I was interning. It was all over the place. And, the life that I had was great. I was, all of my friends, we were all broke. We were having a great time. So if you think about what kind of life that you want first and go from there, everything will fall into place. So focusing on that. And then also looking at opportunities that come your way and take them. So when something comes your way, act on it. And things will lead you, but also don't get too set in your ways where you're like, because with me, I want to be a filmmaker. I want to make films. So when the opportunity came up to run film festivals, I was like, that's not something I've ever wanted to do, but I took it. And
Right.
it's led me in so many directions where now all the opportunities I have are because of my film festivals. And same with my podcast. Beer was never something I thought about when I was graduating. I mean, sometimes I would partake, but but as far as like being in the industry and working with people in the industry, never something I thought about. But once I took that opportunity and grew that opportunity, now it's, I have a network television show brewing currently for the show, for the podcast. So these things will take form, and there's not a traditional way to do this. So make your own path, make sure that you know about your finances, keep in touch with your finances, like know them very well, and treat yourself as a business. You yourself, that's actually the best advice that I can give. You are your own business. Open up your LLC, put it in your name. Every single paycheck that you get from acting, from filmmaking, it goes into your company bank account and it goes to your LLC. That is the best advice that I can give for sure. You are your own business entity. You are your own brand. So your social media is very important. Make sure that your social media is being used as a tool and you are not a consumer of social media. So what you put out there is what people are going to see. Casting directors, when they're looking at you as the actor, they go straight to your social media. So put stuff up there that shows your personality. You don't have to sit there and just constantly post your headshots and reels. Show your personality, show what you're like. If you're funny, like do some funny reels, do things that fit your personality, or just pictures. If you love taking things of landscapes, everything, that's fine. But your personal brand is the most important production you will ever do in your life. So make sure that your personal brand is, it'll change, it'll flow, but make sure that you have a pretty tight grip on your personal brand.
Yes, that branding is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I also stress too. So thank you for sharing that. So if I could travel back in time and interview 18-year-old Caroline, what would you least likely believe to be true?
That's a great question. Least likely believed to be true, like about myself today?
Yeah. Like, would you at 18 years old believe, I know you said something like you couldn't believe that you were you never thought you'd be doing film festivals. So like, maybe if you want to expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, I guess the whole thing. I wouldn't have believed that I made it this far. I wouldn't have believed that I wasn't a main cast member on SNL yet. I wouldn't have believed there were so many different hopes and dreams that I had when I was 18, which, nothing's impossible, of course, but
Right.
just I wouldn't have believed that a lot of the things that I'm doing are possible. Of course, back then, Instagram was like just getting started. So I would have never believed that I would have so many Instagram followers or people following me for what I do. I would have never believed that I would have made a career out of craft beer. Or just, that I would be able to turn my favorite thing ever, which is watching film and producing film, into a career, and I would be able to write my own paychecks. So that was something that I didn't believe was a possibility, and very happy that it is.
Wow. Yeah, that's so cool. It's really cool how you think that you're gonna go one way and then you're like, nope, I'm gonna go this way. Or you major in one thing and you're like, no, you never use that. You never use your degree. So I
Yeah.
like how when you gave your advice for high school students just to be open, because you just never know what's gonna happen, where a career can take you, because it's true.
Yeah. And I also don't recommend going to college unless you know exactly what you want to do. There are a lot of film schools out there that are wonderful, and it's great for networking. It's great to put you in line with these resources. If you can get a scholarship to a film school, good for you. But I cannot tell you how many film students will come to Film Pitch ATL and they don't even know how to put together a pitch deck. They don't know how to do their taxes. They don't know how to network. So the best advice that I can give you is if you want to be a filmmaker, make film. Go be a PA, volunteer, go into the Facebook groups and say, hey, this is my name. These are the dates I'm available. I can be a PA on set. Because I've been on set when I was on Being Mary Jane. I've been on set when a PA who was very interested in being a DP was talking, and because we had a lot of downtime on that set, and I watched it. The DP came up to the PA and was like, hey, come up here, work this. And then the director let her work the camera for a bit, look at what it was a learning experience. And that's a huge network show. So you can get incredible experience, and just don't be a jerk on set. Obviously, as if you can show up on time and not be a jerk, you will be employed as long as you want here in Atlanta or anywhere.
Right.
I just recommend getting your hands dirty right away. And, of course, if the opportunity comes to go to film school and you can have a scholarship, by all means. But what's going to happen is when you graduate and you're $100K in debt, you're going to be 4 years behind everybody else that started as a PA and now they're getting things done. So unless you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or you have a full scholarship, don't go to college. It's a huge waste of time and money, especially today.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So true. That is so true. You don't even need college. We didn't even pressure our 18-year-old to go to school. We're like, dude, you don't even, he's really good with his hands. Like right now he is freelancing for a graphic designer because that's what he was into, and he was in the graphic design program. We were like, you don't even need to go to school. If that's not what you want to do, then don't go.
I always tell people, I went to YouTube University with a minor in Amazon. So if there's something that I want to learn, I go to YouTube. There are so many free resources
Oh my
and
gosh.
tutorials. The library, I just found this out a few months ago. The library has free online courses for film editing, for photo editing, there are so many resources out there that you can find yourself. So if you want to learn something, you can find the resources to do so.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. I guess we could use that as your gym, because that was my next question. But that was pretty good. But do you have anything else you'd like to share?
Gosh, I definitely want to say this industry is really hard. Be easy on yourself. You are not replaceable. On a film set, you are replaceable. On, at work, you're very replaceable. There's been jobs that I quit and my position was filled by the end of the day. You are not replaceable to your friends. You are not replaceable to your family. So when you are in this industry, do not let it sweep you away. Do not act like there is not another opportunity around the corner. You have to focus on your health. You have to focus on your mental health, and you need to be there for your family. That's actually something that I wish I would have done when I was younger, is spend more time with my family and not think that, oh gosh, but I'm on this set. Oh wait, I have this show. I can't go to Christmas this year. I can't go to Hanukkah I'm half Jewish. I can't go to, so I feel like I missed out on a lot of opportunities and time with my family because I did prioritize this industry in the thought that it was slipping away. Nope. There are so many film sets. There are so many opportunities. And just remember, you are very replaceable in this industry, but you're not replaceable to your friends or family.
Right. Well, I mean, there she goes. She's dropping gems regardless. So that was a good one. I like that. Thank you. So how can people connect with you?
You can follow me. I'm at Caroline King Official on Instagram. And you can follow me at Bitch Beer Podcast on Instagram as well. Also for Cinema Life, we are cinema_life_org. I think there's another Cinema Life on Instagram. That's not us. And I share a lot of really great tips and tricks on the Cinema Life Instagram, as far as like ways to get your film noticed, how to pitch your project, how to make your submissions more attractive to film festivals. I have 2 published books, the Film Festival Submitters Guide, and it is a step-by-step, start to finish,
Wow.
how to submit your film to film festivals. I highly recommend this book. It is a huge resource guide, and it is filled with information that I myself have learned, and that I have from running all of these festivals, what we like to see to make your project stand out. Because some people don't know that there are so many things that could actually make you not even be considered by festivals by something super simple that you can just edit in your submission. And then also I have a pitching best practices guide, which is start to finish guide on how to pitch your project, how to get your pitch deck ready, what you need. A lot of people don't realize that you don't even need a finished screenplay to pitch your project. You just need a really good pitch deck and a really good story. So, and with those, with the Film Festival Submitters Guide, we give you a free, media kit template. So it is just something that's fully editable to you, and it makes your media kit look super professional. It's exactly the way that studios and executives and film festivals like to see it. And also with the pitching guide, you get a full pitch deck template that is based on feedback from our panelists, from executive studios. So makes it super easy for you. So you don't have to, spend all this time looking up how to do it properly.
Wow, you're a great resource. I
Oh,
might need
thanks.
my pitch deck book.
I put out what I wish I had when I got started. So
Yeah.
basically I'm helping people avoid all of the mistakes that I made.
Right, you do what a producer does. You solve problems. So
I try.
yes, and I feel like you really have done that, because there's
Thank you.
people that don't know how to know what to submit to film festivals. There's people that don't know how to create a pitch deck.
Yeah.
So yes.
And then like, just for an example of just one tiny trick that you can do, or not even, I don't want to call it a trick, just one tip. I have a lot of filmmakers, like, I'll reach out to filmmakers personally, but there was one film that we got, and, it was great, but it was exactly 30 minutes long. It kind of dragged in spots. And when programmers are looking for things, if your project is over 15 minutes, that extra minute over it needs to be the best minute they've ever seen of their lives. Because when they're programming, if they can accept either, if it's between 1 30-minute film, that's good, or 5 6-minute films, that is so much better to them, because if they're rated on the same level, they'd rather take more films than just that one project. So, but also, I'll give those tips to people and just say, hey, why don't you just cut your film down a little bit? Like, trim the fat, cut your darlings. And, and I told them, I said, I know it sounds like a lot, but if you were to make this a 13 to 15-minute film, I feel like you'd get a lot better response. And they emailed me about a month later. They said, oh my gosh, we cut our film down to 13 minutes, including credits. And we went from getting into 0 film festivals to now we're in 27.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's simple. It's these simple things that they don't tell you, that there's so much gatekeeping, especially in the film festival world, because people sit here and think that film festivals are just these like turn your nose up at you, like you're lucky to be here sort of things. No, I take the approach of this is customer service. We're of service to our filmmakers, and we want our filmmakers to succeed. And whether, if they take this information and they succeed at our festivals and they succeed at other film festivals, that makes us incredibly happy. So it's, we are here to, serve our filmmakers and make sure that they have the best experience.
Okay. Heard it here. So thank you for answering a few questions for us.
Yeah, hopefully I didn't ramble on too much.
Oh no, you shared, great stuff. I learned a lot too. So thank you.
Thanks.
And
Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And thank you for joining us. For more Atlanta Movers and Shakers interviews, be sure to subscribe to AtlantaFilmandTV.com. Until then, I am Mandisa Johnson. Take care.